I would say my morning ritual, which I've aimed to change, but still is the case, wake up and do my initial check, which I think a lot of us do, where we're on our pillow, kind of, if it's still dark, looking through, scrolling through.
I think my day starts with looking at my phone. I think that's pretty standard, I hope so, for most 24-year-olds. I wake up, I check my phone, kind of text messages, looking through Instagram, then Facebook. Then I'll get up and be reading like Apple News. That's a huge thing, and sharing stories as soon as I see them. So it's definitely, I'm like, my day is getting started as I'm sharing, as I'm posting, as I'm checking things. And then I get to work and it's more of the same, although I think I have probably a little bit more exposure to social media because I run social media for a brand. So I think I'm not only looking out for what I might be interested in personally, but I'm looking in kind of like the things that I would want to cover for work that day on a daily basis.
So my phone is with me probably the entire day. I am ashamed to admit that there are times when I wake up and my eyes are not even fully open yet, and I'm already scrolling through, checking the notifications that have amassed from the evening before. So generally with me the whole day, unless I'm at dinner, doing, in class, well, even in class, I guess, but it dots my experience as I move about the city and move about my travels. In some ways it is very just practical. Often, especially in a city like New York, everybody's plans are constantly changing, and I've considered what would it be like if I were to leave it at home, and I've done a little bit of experimentation with that. And ultimately, from a map standpoint and from a communication, it does create it creates an obstruction not to have one at this point, because it's an expectation that you'll be available pretty much instantaneously. And that's one of the things I think is a little frightening, is that people can always be reaching friends, and sometimes you're in the middle of something, you're talking to somebody and a notification comes up in the corner of their eye, and the entire flow of that conversation can be changed. So,
I would say that I feel like I'm always on call with my phone. I have my Slack app open at all times. I have Twitter running at all times. I'm constantly flagging things, like even if it's in the middle of the night and I see something that, I think this could be a story, then I'm saving it. I'm posting pictures of food to Instagram because I'm expected to, as someone who works in lifestyle media. So how do I feel about being on call on my phone all the time? I don't know. I don't really notice it. I think it feels natural at this point, which it's ironic because it's a totally unnatural behavior, but it does feel natural now. I don't actively try to set time away from my phone. Like, it's not something I do in a self-motivated kind of way, although I think one of the strongest deterrents from being on my phone all the time is actually other people. So I think certain people in your life will want you to disengage and want you to connect in person. So I think the more you have those people who, you'll mutually feel like you're not missing something by being on your phone, I think that's like one of the best ways to not be on your phone, is to have people who are actively trying to get you off your phone, and vice versa.
And on that same thing, do you think that, I guess it's hard because you've been on the phone, like so many of us have been on the phone for so long, but does it change the way you interact with like people in the present at all?
I definitely think that the way I interact with people has changed because of my dependency on my phone, and it's something I am acknowledging more than I'm working to rectify, but I do catch myself sometimes in the middle of a conversation or at dinner, and I am still listening to what the other person is saying, but I'll see something and it'll just kind of grab me, and human attention is only so limited, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Can you go on that a little bit? Like, so do you think it's that your attention span is shorter because of it, or is it something, like, how do you think it's changing the way that you can like have a dialogue with someone?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best example of how dependent we are, how much we feel like we need to be tuned in at all times, like we're afraid of missing out on something. And I think the best example in my life is when I travel a lot, and I travel to a place where I might not have 24/7 access to my phone. Say, like, I went to Vietnam last summer and I could only get service when I had Wi-Fi in a hotel or whatever. So the majority of the day was spent not being on my phone, and it took a day to get into that rhythm. And then once you're off your phone for a while, then you get used to it again. But you definitely feel like it's almost kind of like a physical withdrawal, I would say. Like a lot of people say, oh, I feel naked without my phone, and I think that's definitely an indicator of something greater than just, oh, I like being on my phone. It's like a real physical, mental dependency. Yeah.